Welcome back. According to a new global analysis from the World Health Organization and its International Agency for Research on Cancer, up to 4 in 10 cancer cases worldwide could be prevented. The study examines 30 preventable causes, including tobacco, alcohol, high body mass index, physical inactivity, air pollution, ultraviolet radiation, and for the very first time, 9 cancer-causing infections, such as human papillomavirus, HPV, and hepatitis B. To let us in on what we can do to lower the risk for cancer and what to do if there's a diagnosis, particularly in children, I'm now being joined on the program by Dr. Edamiso Temiye, who is a professor of pediatrics at the University of Lagos and a consultant pediatric hematologist and oncologist at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital in Diaraba. Professor Temiye is also the chairman, Stem Cell Transplantation Implementation Committee of the Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria and Lagos University Teaching Hospital Bone Marrow Transplantation Program. A former chairman of the Nigerian Medical Association Lagos State Branch, is also a member of Nigerian Society of Pediatric Oncology and International Society of Pediatric Oncology. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. So, to set the tone, let's begin by laying the foundation for what cancer is.
Thank you very much. Cancer is an abnormal growth of cells in the body. Usually, most of the cells in the body replicate themselves when they are instructed to do so. And having replicated, they are also instructed to stop. In cancer cells, they continue to replicate themselves and refuse to stop. And so they grow massively, destroying normal cells in the body, taking over their function, and they having lost their own function. Then the body loses its function from where the cancer starts from. They can also spread from the location where they are to other parts of the body, establish themselves there, and destroy that place. But normally a cell cannot go to another place and establish itself there and destroy it. A cancer cell does that, and that's what we call metastasis.
Okay, so it is the abnormal growth.
Yes,
and
uncontrollable growth. It's abnormal and it's uncontrolled and does not stop.
What causes cancer?
Majorly, cancer is a genetic disease. In every cell, there's a gene that regulates cells to divide, and a gene that tells cells to stop. One way or the other, whatever caused that cancer has corrupted those genes, and that is the beginning of cancer. So cancer basically is a genetic disease, but there are things that can, predispose to that, cause a cell to start misbehaving. In many cases, maybe about 40 to 60%, okay, we don't even know what caused that to happen.
Yeah, because I was going to say that sometimes they say, this particular cancer, we don't even know what's causing it.
It's just that happening. The cell, that cell got mad, so to say, and start dividing abnormally and uncontrollably.
But there are risk factors, some of which I mentioned in what the World Health Organization talked about. Let's talk about that.
The risk factors is applicable majorly to adults. Tobacco is exposure to tobacco, inactivity, exposure to some chemicals in the environment that are known to cause cancer, exposure to some infections that can lead to cancer. Human papillomavirus is well known. Epstein-Barr virus is well known to predispose to cancer. Hepatitis B virus, if the person acquires it in infancy, now leads to cancer in middle age and usually cancer of the liver. These are some of the things that we know can cause cancer. In children, however, it is difficult to predict what causes cancer in children. The little one we know are some genetic conditions that if one acquires it from the parents or it occurs de novo, may lead to cancer in a child. So in children, most of the time, we don't know what happened.
And that's very scary because sometimes you just wonder, why is this happening to a child who is just starting life? Because some of the risk factors, that you mentioned earlier, or I listed, you find alcohol, you will not attach that to a child,
yes.
but you find cancer in children. The part of that study by the World Health Organization identified lung cancer, stomach cancer, and cervical cancer as accounting for nearly half of all the cases of cancers that can be prevented.
Yeah.
Let's look at the prevalent cancers in Nigeria.
Okay. Majorly in adults, the cancer that are prevalent are breast cancer in women, cervical cancer in women. Okay, they are very, we have high risk rate of death in Nigeria. And for men, majorly we have prostate cancer. In fact, it's believed that if a man lives long enough, he will have prostate cancer. And then, of course, liver cancer may also occur, maybe because they take alcohol more, and of course, lung cancer from, smoking. So these are the things that are the most common causes of cancer in adults. In children, we don't know what causes most of the cancers, but we have cancers that are related to, are related to the blood system, the leukemias, lymphomas, and we have a particular cancer that is prevalent in Nigeria, cancer of the eye, which we call the retinoblastoma in Nigeria. And it is believed that Nigerian carries the genetic abnormality in that cancer. So the rate of us having a child with cancer of the eye in children is higher in Nigeria than in developed countries. And one should look out for it.
And we can't pinpoint what causes that too, so that we can.
There's a gene we call retinoblastoma 1 gene. That's a gene that is corrupted, and it leads to retinoblastoma, cancer of the eye. That gene also has some effect in causing cancer of the muscles, which we call rhabdomyosarcoma. So there's a link that you can have some rhabdomyosarcoma from corruption of the retinoblastoma gene. What causes it? We don't know. Most of it is believed to occur after fertilization, which we call somatic. But some of them, they are transmitted from the parents to the child.
So, how do we ensure that, yes, even if there is cancer, we'll still talk more about prevention. How will a person, be able to detect it on time? And that's, of course, linked to screening.
Okay, yeah. Detecting cancer early is very key to surviving cancer. And most of the time, cancer presents with, vague signs. Sometimes no sign, okay? Somebody may see something growing on the body, it's not painful, doesn't prevent the person from doing anything in the beginning, and may actually overlook it. Or somebody like an adult is passing blood in the stool, or he says jedi or pile, and that may be cancer that is occurring in the intestine. That the person will not know. Many people who have breast cancer, they saw a lump there and they just ignore it initially until it becomes something we cannot control. In adults, sometimes a woman, has intercourse and she bleeds, and that's all. No pain, nothing. That is a danger sign that something is happening. In children, again, most of the time, the swelling will occur without any sign. This one we call retinoblastoma actually shows something in the eye. It shows something shiny in the eye, like you are looking at a cat eye in the night. So we call it cat eye sign. In fact, there was a time that they said toothbrush saved a child's life in US, and I was interested in how can toothbrush save a child's life. It is toothbrush that when a child has brushed for long enough, it flashes light. And it flashed the light, and the mother saw something shining in the child's eye. What is shining in my child's eye? I went to hospital, and it was retinoblastoma. So somebody sees something shining like a gold inside his child's eye, that person should run for help. If you see a child who is complaining of headache, it's rare for children to have headache, especially in the mornings. Or he goes to the toilet and says this headache is more, run. There may be cancer in the brain developing. Okay? Or you see swelling, it's not painful, it's not hot, it's not warm. And you say, is it paining you? You say, no. And continue to grow in someone, that person should visit a hospital, whether it's a child or an adult. That may be the beginning of cancer. Cancer of the kidney, for example, many of the parents know when they are, bathing their child, and suddenly their hand hits something in the tummy. What is this? It's not there before. And they visit the hospital and say, sorry, there's a cancer in the kidney. So initially, cancer does not cause pain or disturbance in person doing it. By the time it starts causing pain, there's a problem.
It may have gone far.
It may have gone far.
So are we, of course, in the light of the World Cancer Day, there was a talk around having cancer screening in primary health care facilities.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the screening, because for you to be able to catch it, that means you have gone for a form of screening. What forms of screening can we or can individuals engage in? Okay, for adults, everybody knows breast cancer screening and the self-screening initially. A woman should be able to examine her breast at least once a month. At least once a month, a woman should be able to examine her breast and feel whether there's any abnormality, and there's a way you could be taught from primary health care how to do that. Now the others is that when you get to a particular age, there's some screening that can be done. For example, in many countries, when you reach the age of about 40, 50, they start doing your colonic screening, in which you go for, they pass a tube, they look at your colon. If it's safe, come back in as much as 10 years, because the cancer in that place grows slowly. Okay? And for cervical cancer, of course, a woman of childbearing age in an environment should start having screening. And if it's normal, you go back every 3 years. It's not all the time that one does that. In children, screening is not possible. Early diagnosis is what we depend on. And the early diagnosis involves being aware of what we call cancer. Like you say, abnormal growth, you see something shining in the child's eye, and the behavior of the child is changing. Okay? That, if it's picked up by the parents or primary care provider, they should go straight away to somewhere where they can find the child. And the next step is they can investigate the child. It will take appropriate history, examine the child appropriately, conduct, diagnostic investigation to determine what this cancer is, and offer appropriate treatment. Early treatment saves a child's life when they have cancer. Late treatment is very dangerous. And one of the things that happens in children with cancer, in adults, a cancer can be growing for 2-3 years before it becomes a problem, sometimes 4 years. In children, 6 months is too long. In 6 months, the child may be dead. Because their cancer grows very fast, grows rapidly. And so when you see things that is abnormal, take the child to hospital as soon as possible. Cancer of the blood is also common in this environment. And they present with failure of, the child is having anemia, it's not having enough blood. Yet they transfuse this week. 2 weeks' time, you come back, again shortage of blood. Or he has fever, or they say it's malaria, and they treat with anti-malaria, they give blood, and he feels better. 2 weeks later, he's having fever and comes back. That is a warning that you should run. That may be cancer of the blood. And it's one of the fastest growing cancer that kills children. So those are the things you can do. Yeah, so you've emphasized early detection and treatment. Yeah. But I'm sure in your practice, you have seen that treatment of cancers in Nigeria is It's not for the faint-hearted. It's not something that anyone would wish for, but it happens. So let's talk about the available options, that science has provided, and how readily affordable and available are they in Nigeria?
Treatment of cancer in Nigeria and anywhere else in the world is expensive. In fact, investigation is expensive. And what has happened is that the society in many countries has provided safety net for treating people. Nigeria is moving to it. Now we have a body we call NICRIT, National Institute for Cancer Research and Treatment, which was established in 2017. It's now moving towards that. But we have a lot to do to get to where we should get to. From investigation to treatment, cancer care is expensive. And it's not available in many centers. It's not everyone that can do it. So we need to establish and fund properly cancer centers that can do it. We are doing it, but there are still quite few in the country. And then our diagnostic equipments are still not as good as what we want them to be. So sometimes there's delay. You take the sample, and then there's delay interpreting what this is. It happens especially more in children. You see a cancer. You know this is cancer. Just like I told the father 2 weeks ago. I know it is cancer. What am I dealing with? Which cancer? If you don't answer that question, you cannot offer affordable treatment. There are some cancers in children we call small round bull cell tumor. There are about 8 of them. Some of them from the muzzle, from the blood, from the eye, from the nerves. And when you look at them under microscope, which is more common in Nigeria to diagnose, they look the same. So what are you dealing with? The cancer can spread. So we don't know what we are dealing with. You have to do special tests to now determine what you are dealing with. Those tests are virtually not available in Nigeria. You have to send the sample abroad, and they are expensive. And sometimes it takes 2 weeks, 3 weeks for us to get the appropriate diagnosis. And the cancer has, of course, is marching on during that period. And then you now start that is minus somebody coming late, or they go to a hospital or a health facility where they miss the diagnosis. So missing diagnosis, coming late for treatment, making appropriate diagnosis is a big issue that we have in Nigeria.
So that's a lot to take in. So let's talk about in places or in areas where we can prevent, as the WHO has outlined. Yeah. Let's talk about that part. What can we do quickly?
Okay, for adults, actually, it shouldn't start from adults. For example, we know that some conditions can lead to cancer, like cigarette smoking. That should be something nobody should take from childhood. Do not expose a child to cigarette smoking. Adults should stop smoking cigarettes. In fact, any adult who wants to engage in cigarette smoking should make sure that there are no children. I'm particular about this because that exposure may eventually lead the child to smoking and to the damage that we call early. Of course, alcohol is also something that we need to do with. Infection, HPV. Now you see that girls are being immunized because it has been found that those people got infected very early when they in sexual debut, and by the age of 30, 35, they develop cancer. So getting immunization to prevent that is very, very key to preventing cancer. The same thing with hepatitis B virus. If you immunize and the child is not infected early, the likelihood of suffering from cancer of the liver later in life, at the productive time of life, will not be there because we have reduced the chance of such a person developing cancer in adulthood. Okay? For children, of course, it's just the examination and being careful when you see something that should not be there, get to the hospital where that diagnosis could be made.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your expertise on the program today. We've been having a chat with Dr. Edamiso Temiye, who is a professor of pediatrics at the University of Lagos and a consultant pediatric hematologist and oncologist at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital in Diaraba. Thank you so much for your time.
Welcome.
And just before we go, let's quickly see what stories we have for you from the health world.
The federal government has disclosed plans to integrate cancer screening and treatment across all primary health care centers of the federation to serve the grassroots and enhance early detection.
To the glory of Almighty God and to the improvement of cancer care in Nigeria, I have the honor and privilege to, on this day, 4th of February, commemorating 2026 World Cancer Day, to commission this preventive oncology clinic.
Minister of State for Health and Social Development, Dr. Isaac Salako, disclosed this at the commissioning of a national cancer screening center at the Federal Medical Center, Jabi, Abuja. He adds that plans are underway to establish 8 additional screening centers to complement the 8 existing ones across the 6 geopolitical zones. As the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention continues its surveillance and awareness campaign against Lassa fever, an acute viral hemorrhagic disease, authorities in Plateau State's health sector have announced 3 confirmed cases, 12 suspected cases, and 4 including a senior medical doctor at the Bingham University Teaching Hospital in Jos, the state capital. The Plateau State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Nicholas Bamlong, also stated that the situation is under control and response efforts have been scaled up to protect lives and prevent further spread.
They are still doing contact tracing because they have come in contact with quite a lot of health workers and even their relations and things like that. These are the times that the rats are going around everywhere. They are patching and urinating on things that are spread. Let us avoid anything that will make us come in contact with things like that.
According to the NCDC, Lassa fever cases have also been reported in Bauchi, Ebonyi, Benue, Ondo, Taraba, Nasarawa, and Edo states. The cumulative confirmed cases for week 3 of the year 2026 stands at 39, with 17 deaths recorded. Lassa fever is a severe viral illness which spreads by the multi-marmot rats, causing symptoms ranging from mild fever and headache to life-threatening hemorrhaging and organs failure. Prevention of Lassa fever focuses on food and personal hygiene and rodent control. Outside our shores, global cholera vaccine supply has now increased to a level sufficient to allow the resumption of life-saving preventive campaigns for the first time in over 3 years. That's according to Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, UNICEF, and the World Health Organization, WHO. Mozambique is the first country to restart preventive vaccination following the halt in 2022 caused by the global surge in cholera cases that drove up demand and led to shortages of oral cholera vaccine OCV stocks. A first allocation of 20 million doses is being deployed for preventive campaigns. Of these, 3.6 million doses were delivered to Mozambique, 6.1 million to the Democratic Republic of the Congo that is also experiencing significant outbreaks, and 10.3 million doses are planned for delivery to Bangladesh. While global vaccine supply steadily improves, the one-dose strategy will remain the standard for outbreak responses, with the use of 2 doses considered on a case-by-case basis.
Thank you so much for watching Health Matters. And remember, early detection for cancer is very, very key. Thank you indeed for your time. I am Yomi Otaigbe.